Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about solving equations. It is the 22nd day of the 9th month of the year, so it is September 22nd. Today starts Unit 2, okay, where we're going to do an introduction to solving equations. These are things you guys should have done in previous math classes, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So, first things first, when it comes to these notes, I want you to open up to the next clean page, put this title and put the date, okay? But then I want you to flip to the very front of your notebook where we have vocab, okay? Unit 1 vocab is now done. We're now going to do Unit 2 vocab. So wherever you have your Unit 1 vocab, please put Unit 2 vocab underneath it. Two quick definitions when it comes to Unit 2 for the first lesson. The first thing we're going to talk about is, what is an equation? An equation, an expression, and an inequality are not the same thing. There's something in there that makes them different. And in this case, an equation always contains an equal sign. An equal sign is always going to be present when it comes to an equation. The other definition that we're going to have is, what is an inverse operation? You know operations to be add, subtract, multiply, and divide, okay? But an inverse operation is an operation that undoes another operation. You're undoing it. Oh, and that's not going to fit. So an inverse operation is an operation that undoes another. Those are the two definitions that we're going to put in our notebooks. So once you have those two definitions done, remember this is in the very front of your notebook, I want you to then flip back to today's notes. And we're going to discuss. Remember, an equation contains an equal sign. An inverse operation undoes another operation. So if we're going to talk about inverse operations, we need to know what they are, okay? So we're going to talk about inverse operations real quick, okay? An inverse operation. If I'm doing multiplication, what operation undoes it? What undoes multiplication? Well, division. And then think, well, what undoes division? Multiplication. Those two go hand in hand. They're partners in crime. Okay? If I have addition, what undoes addition? Subtraction. Subtraction undoes addition. What undoes subtraction? Addition. Again, these are partners in crime. So we're going to do something real quick. We're going to solve one-step equations just to discuss inverse operations. You're really not going to see too much of this from me. Most of our stuff is not going to be this simple, but it still just gets the idea across. So for example number 1, if I have x plus 13 equal to 4, in this problem, what am I doing with my x and my 13? I'm adding them. What undoes addition? Subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 13. What I do to one side, I have to do to both. Okay, some people use this T, if you recognize that. I prefer not to use it, but I understand. So I'm going to have my x My x is going to come straight down. 13 minus 13 gives me 0. 4 minus 13 gives me negative 9. I don't need this plus 0, so I'm actually going to get rid of it. I can now say x equals negative 9. A second example is if I had q divide negative 10 equals 3. If I'm dividing by negative 10, if I'm dividing, what operation undoes division? Multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by negative 10. These 10s are going to cancel out, just like your 13s did. They canceled out. I'm going to have q equals, what's negative 10 times 3? Negative 30. These are one-step equations. We're doing one operation to undo. Another example, last one of a one-step. If I have 4x equals 1016, what am I doing with my 4 and my x? I don't have a symbol written there. What can I assume is there? What's a symbol that I never, ever, ever, ever have to write? That would be multiplication. So if I have multiplication in my given problem, I have multiplication in my given problem, what undoes multiplication? I have multiplication. Division undoes it. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. 1016 divided by 4 gives me, hopefully, you have a calculator. If you don't have one, go get one. But these 4's cancel out. I no longer need them. Oh, I don't like how crooked that is. It goes away. The last thing I have is my x. Those are one-step equations, things that you've seen before, okay? We don't spend much more time than that on those. But what we are going to spend more time on are two-step equations. So now we're going to go on to two-step equations. This is going to require 2 steps of work. Here's a couple hints that I like to give to students. When you don't know every number, we're going to use PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We're still going to use order of operations, but we're going to use them backwards. Instead of starting with parentheses, we're going to start with addition and subtraction. Another hint that I give to students, if they don't like that one, is we're going to get rid of the stuff furthest away from the variable. We're going to get rid of the furthest stuff away from the variable. And notice that stuff is in quotes, okay? That's just a general term. It's not very mathematical, but it's just a word that I'm going to use, okay? It's stuff. Can't go wrong with stuff. We're going to do 2 examples. No, actually, I lied. We're going to do 3 examples. First example. I have 2w plus 4 equal to 10. What 2 operations am I doing in this problem? In this problem, I'm obviously adding. And what am I doing with my 2 and my w? I'm multiplying. So according to the 2 hints, what are we going to get rid of first? Are we going to get rid of the 2? We're going to get rid of the 4. Well, according to PEMDAS, we're going to go backwards, remember? We're going to go backwards. So, do I parentheses exponents first, multiply, divide first, or do I add and subtract first? You're going to add or subtract first. The furthest thing away from my variable is right here. Is the 2 further away or is the 4 further away? The 4 is further away, so we're going to get rid of that. If you like the line, put the line. How do I get rid of a positive 4? How do I get rid of addition? To get rid of addition, I subtract. My 4 is going to go away. I'm left with a 2w equals, what's 10 minus 4? It is 6. I still have my 2 connected to my w. Remember, we're multiplying. How do I get rid of multiplication? We're going to divide. So I'm going to have w equals 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. There's your first answer for a 2-step equation. Example number 2. Let's take 1/4 c minus 17 equals negative 15. Okay? 1/4 c minus 17 equals negative 15. I'm going to draw a line down my equal sign. What number is further away from my variable? So my variable is c, okay? What number is further away, physically further, the 1/4 or is the 17 further away? My 1/4 is right up against it. My 17 is a little bit of a distance. So the furthest number from my c is 17. How do I get rid of subtraction? We're going to add. What I do to one side, I have to do to both. My 1/4 c just is going to come straight down. Negative 17 plus 17 does give me a 0. Negative 15 plus 17, if you have a calculator, gives me a negative 2. Do I need this plus 0 here? The answer is no. Get rid of it. Gone. It's a waste of my time. Now, how do I get rid of my 1/4 out in front? I'm technically multiplying 1/4 times c. But remember, in math, we cannot divide by a fraction. So we actually have to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/4, flip it, is 4/1. When I do this, these go away. I'm left with c equals, this is actually supposed to be a positive 2. What is 2 times 4/1? You should have a calculator. 2 times 4/1 is 8. C equal to 8 is my answer in this problem. So there's one more that we're going to do for your notes. And that is this one. Parentheses. Nope, not today. We're going to have a division symbol. We're going to have x minus 14 over 3 equal to 10. Remember the hints, PEMDAS backwards, or even what is further away from our variable. So, looking at this problem, what number is further away? My 14, is that further away from my x? Or is the 3? In this case, your 3 is further away. I have x minus 14 divide by 3. According to up top, what is our inverse operation of division? What undoes division? Multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3. We're going to have x minus 14 left, because these cancel out, equals, what's 10 times 3? The answer is going to be 30. Forgot this line, sorry. Okay. I now have x minus 14. X is not by itself yet. How do I get rid of the 14? If I'm subtracting it, the only way to get rid of it is to add it. My x gets dropped straight down. Negative 14 plus 14 gives me a 0. But remember, we don't have to write that. So we're just going to have x equals 30 plus 14 gives me a 44. X equals 44. Oop, I don't like that box. In this problem. So those are two-step equations. We're going to do this class and we're going to do it next class. But your assignment for today. Okay, so there's all the notes. Okay, use them for reference. Okay, these examples down here are going to come very much in handy when you guys are doing your independent work. So I'm going to give you guys a second to finish writing that down. I'm going to give a second for the directions before I end the video of what your assignment is going to be. So the sub will be passing out this paper to you. Please pass out the paper to the students before I go over a couple of these answers. Okay, I want to take a look at the first two. The first one's kind of simple looking, but I just want to go over it. So in number 1, I have 2x plus 8 equals negative 12. What number is further away? My 2 or my 8? What number is physically further away from my x? The 8 is physically further away. So let's get rid of it. How do I get rid of addition? I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to subtract 8 from one side. Just kidding, from both. So I'm going to have 2x over here. 8 minus 8 cancels out. I'm going to get equals negative 12 minus 8. It does not give me a 4 or a negative 4. It gives negative 20. What am I doing with my 2 and my x? If there's no sign, I assume it to be multiplication. How do I get rid of multiplication? We're going to divide both sides by 2. These are going to cancel out. X equals negative 10. What you're going to do on that pixel art is for number 1, in the blue box, you're going to type in negative 10. As long as you have the correct answer, pixels will appear in the image. If you type in the wrong answer, the box is going to turn red. The other one I want to look at is number 2. So in number 2, we have negative x over 2 minus 4 plus 3. Remember, what number is furthest away from the variable? That's what we should be thinking about. So I have x with a 2 underneath, and then I have a 4 way next door. What number is further away? My 2 or my 4? The 4 is further away. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. The opposite of subtraction is addition, which is why we added it. We're going to drop this stuff straight down. So I'm going to have x over negative 2. Negative 4 plus 4 gives me 0. Again, I don't have to write that down. Equals 7. What am I doing with my x and my negative 2? You are dividing. How do I undo division? To undo division, you're going to have to multiply. by -2 on both sides. So x equals -2 divided by -2 goes away. I'm left with x. 7 times -2 gives me a -14. You are going to do the rest of these problems. There are 13 left. Remember, when you're done with the problem, you type in -14 into the box. You type in -10 into the box. If you do not have the right symbols, it will mark it wrong. Okay, that is what you are doing for this assignment. The pixel art is posted on Google Classroom, so you are able to look at that. But yeah, so use your notes. You'll notice that these look very similar to what you did in the bottom section of your notes. Okay, use them for reference. Any questions? Please, I have an answer key that I'm going to leave. So if you have any questions, you can refer to my answer key, but that does not mean you copy it down. That's called cheat. Good luck to you.